mention that this is episode 39, live from my drum room. And of course, today's guest is Steve Gadd, my very good friend. And we're going to talk about his new book, which I remembered the name of it. It's called Gaddiments. In fact, it was right here on my hat the whole time. How do you like that? Yeah, we're going to talk about that book and how I want to talk to Steve, especially about the title of the book, because I thought the title was so clever. Gadiments. It's like a play on rudiments. Gadiments. Really, maybe the most clever title, best title I've ever heard. And I'd love to hear the origins of where that came from, how he came up with that, or who came up with it. Because it's genius. I just think the title is genius. So I'm going to just comment on a couple of the comments. Los, I'm glad you like this shirt. This was made by my friend Mike Trickett, who has a t-shirt company here in Massachusetts, and he sent this to me completely as a surprise. And yeah, okay, there we go. Penny Lane, of course, recognized it's a Mike Trickett shirt. So Mike sent this to me, and I think it's pretty cool. So I wanted to wear it today as a shout out to Mike and to thank him for doing this. And when GTA gets back up to full speed, we're going to definitely get some shirts made up and from Mike, and some Grand Theft Audio shirts, that is. So yeah, I'm glad you like the shirt. And Darren, thank you for the kind words about GTA. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did get a lot of really cool comments, so thanks to everybody who happened to watch my band Grand Theft Audio's live stream last Saturday that we did. It was a lot of fun to play again, and warts and all, it was cool to get back together, and after 10 months of not playing live, and basically one rehearsal, a half a rehearsal is really all we had. So not even that, barely a rehearsal. So not bad. 855 YouTube subscribers as of today, closing in on that amazing 1,000 mark, which is awesome. Next Friday, May 28th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, my guest will be Jeremy Stacey, my very good friend, Jeremy from the UK. Great drummer, great musician, multi-instrumentalist, actually. And Steve and I were talking about him earlier, in fact, during the sound check. So that's going to be great to have Jeremy on the show. Upcoming shows, I don't have dates locked in, but the elusive Charlie Drayton got in touch this week, and we're going to figure something out in June. He's been very busy, but as I've mentioned, Charlie Drayton's going to be my guest. Mike Beard, Dave DeCenzo, Mike Mangini, my old friend Tom Hambridge, now living in Nashville, but from the Boston area, who I've known for 40 plus years, TH in the Wreckage days, and some industry friends, Rich Manjicaro, my old friend and competitor. Rich used to run Peisty Symbols Artist Relations for many years. Good guy, good friend. And Ralph Angelillo, who runs the Montreal Drum Fest, is going to be my guest down the road. Dates to be confirmed, as I say, so watch, keep an eye out. And I just want to take a second. Steve is waiting patiently in the green room, probably enjoying some of those delicious pistachio nuts I left for him. He loves those. When we used to do the Mission from Gadd tours on the bus, I always made sure we had just bags and bags of those pistachios for him. And for me, everybody loved them. So, and it's a good, healthy snack. But I just want to take a second. I heard the news, as I'm sure many of you did yesterday, about the passing of Roger Hawkins. And I just want to say that I never got to meet him. I didn't know him, but I was a massive, massive fan of his playing. And I reached out to him about 5 or 6 years ago. I got his email through Steve Smith, who had, along with Rob Wallace from Hudson Music, had done a book with Roger Hawkins. And I'm trying to remember the name. Rob can mention it. Rob Wallace will be on the show later today because Hudson is distributing Steve's book. So I'm going to have Rob join us in about an hour or so. But Rob can also talk about Roger, I think, too, at that time. And anyway, I reached out to Roger via email and I didn't hear back. And that's fine, But he's someone that I had always wanted to connect with during my time at Zildjian. I came very close at one point through one of our sales reps that was in that covered Alabama, that had a connection, knew someone who knew someone who knew Roger. And Roger was one of those guys that didn't seek out endorsements with companies. And so, I don't think he ever had a symbol endorsement with any company, certainly not with Zildjian when I was there. And I tried to reach out at one point, or I tried to get a contact to reach out to him. And then after I left, as I said, about 5 or 6 years ago, I went through this phase of listening to all this music that he played on. And one day I reached out to Steve Smith and Rob, and I said, can you guys get me in touch with Roger Hawkins? And then recently, in the last year, I thought it would be really cool to have him on this show. Even though I didn't know him, I thought I'm a big enough fan that I could certainly, have a conversation with him about all the great songs he's played on. So I'm just, like a lot of you guys, I'm just really pained and sad and devastated about this huge loss, to music, to drummers everywhere, because he was just monumental. He was just, his recording credits, are just staggering when you think of the songs that he played on. And this morning I went out for a run, and I put about 6 or 7 songs on a playlist of Roger Hawkins songs, like Kodachrome and the Staple Singers tunes, Respect Yourself, and I'll Take You There, and Bob Seger, Main Street, and the title song to the record, that the huge record, Night Moves. Those are all Respect by Aretha Franklin. Those are all Roger Hawkins recordings. So absolutely, Bill, Roger is drumming royalty. I mean, and if there's something higher than royalty, that's him. I'd say godlike. And I don't use that term loosely, but he really was, to me anyway, godlike. So anyway, Anthony's asking me, are you on YouTube also? It doesn't seem to. No, I'm not on YouTube. Right now, I'm not broadcasting. Hello, Jarek. Hello, Bernard Castiglione. Good to see you guys. All right, so enough about that. Yeah, so anyway, it's good to see all you guys on here. Eddie Taduri. Eddie, I love you, brother. Eddie, I'm going to have you on a future show, too, just to have you play some shuffles for me. My dear friend, Eddie Taduri, from many, many years ago. All right, Penny Lane, good to see you. All right, let's take a look here. Lots of folks watching, not surprisingly. All right. I think that's all I have at the moment. I don't think I've left anything out. Welcome to episode 39 of Live from My Drum Room. And I guess without any further delay, please welcome, I can hear him rattling around, the one and only Steve Gadd, getting some practice time in. Steve-O!
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. You're looking good, and you're sounding good.
Oh, did you run today already or no?
I did. I got out. I was before I brought you on. I was telling everybody, and I meant to mention this earlier. I'm sure you heard that Roger Hawkins passed away in the last day or two. And I went out this morning for a run, and I had a bunch of his recordings on a playlist that I listened to while I ran, and so
nice, right?
What a beautiful drummer,
Yeah.
I was talking about the song Kodachrome by Paul Simon, and for a long time, I think a lot of us assumed that was you on that song. And I remember looking at a list of his credits. I think it was in Max Weinberg's book that he did, that Big Beat book Max wrote about 40 years ago, and he had Roger interviewed, and I think that's when I learned that he played on some of those older songs.
Yeah, before I played with Paul.
Yeah, yep.
Did he play? Who played on Bridge on Over Troubled Water? Who did that?
I think that's Hal on that one.
Oh, Hal, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Hal and the great Buddy Harmon recorded The Boxer, but I think maybe Hal was the one that made it on there or something. There was a story about the two of them being called.
Who was the other guy?
Buddy Harmon. Do you remember Buddy Harmon from Nashville?
No.
Buddy played on like a lot of the like the original like country stuff, like the real, no diss on the country of today, but I'm talking like the real shit from the 50s and 60s, like that was really country, like the Patsy Cline stuff,
Hmm.
Kathy's Clown, and
John, wait. I don't want to. I hate to interrupt, but I just. I want to ask you about those glasses. Are those new glasses you have on?
Steve. No, these the you might ask me about these glasses every time we talk about, but no, these are I've had
Ouch!
these.
Ouch!
They're pretty.
Ouch, Johnny.
I call them my Will Lee glasses.
That hurt. That hurt.
I, I was gonna. I'm. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was feeling a little down talking about Roger Hawkins, but the minute you came on the screen, I was immediately lifted up, and especially with your comment about the suspenders, I looked for some suspenders before we went on the air, and I could not find any
Oh,
suspenders.
I did you. Well, It is like a. There is like, but that mic. It's very Larry King-ish. It's a different mic, but I mean, it still has that same kind of thing. I think the suspenders would sort of melt the cheese and glue it all together, John.
Melt the cheese
And glue it all together.
and glue it all together. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Our friend Nick Vincent said Roger played on My Little Town, Simon and
Oh,
Garfunkel. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of things those guys did
Yeah.
before, before I got involved.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of great friends of ours watching. Paul Quinn, my favorite and your favorite attorney, is watching. And Paul, I want to say hello. And I thought about you this morning, and you're another guy that I will be getting in touch with that I think could give everybody some really great, valuable, free legal advice. That's right, I said free legal advice. So you've been warned about that. Um, and there's Rob Wallace,
Rob,
our friend,
Rob,
handsome Rob. He's watching the show from the sidelines until we bring him on. He's warming up in the bullpen.
is he?
He is. He's getting his arm loose, working on his slider.
Uh huh.
About 2 o'clock or so, we're going to bring him on
Good,
to,
good.
to close it out.
The closer.
He's the closer. Rob's the closer. So, Steve, I have to ask you. I said this in the warm up before you came on. The title of the book, Gaddiments, is
John, wait.
genius.
There, where is all this aggression coming from? Easy, Johnny.
It's that adrenaline.
You don't have to snap my head off here. Come
From,
on. This is a friendly hang. Where's the attitude coming from?
so, let me ask you: Is my picture down here somewhere? Is that why you're looking? Like,
Yeah, no, no, no.
so I wanted to ask. You about where that great title came from, Gadiments. It's genius, and I'm just wondering who could have thought of such a great title like that. And
I just there's some old rudiments in there, but there's some new things that I sort of discovered.
yeah,
Uh, and we just I don't know. I came up with it, and my friend Don Moyo he comes over. He's a drummer that teaches at ASU, and his wife is a guitar player and singer. Her name is Carol Pellet. They come over once a week. We hang, and I was as I was writing the thing, I was like showing him to Dom, and he would play him and stuff.
yeah.
And so I think I ran it by him, I ran it by Carol, and I know we just sort of put our heads together, and that sort of made sense.
Well, I remember a year ago we did one of these. You were just starting to write it. Do you remember that? And
Yeah, I remember talking to you about it when I first
yeah,
started writing it down. I was excited.
I remember you were doing like a page or two a day, and on that show we did, I think it was about a year ago, and at the end of it, you demonstrated some of the exercises on with the rubber tips on the coffee table,
Right.
and just like a few pages that you had. But the title, the name of the book, Gadiments, I just think I'm throwing you a softball in this one, Steve. I just think who
We went too far. Did we
no,
take it too far?
no, I was hoping you were going to say, Johnny, you came up with the name of the book.
Did you?
I
Did you
did.
come up with the name of the book?
I, I did, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I
Now,
dreamt it.
wait a
Maybe
second,
I.
Jen. Now hold on for a second. Hold on there, Mister. Maybe you did. John, I'm 76. My memory isn't what it used to be. So maybe you did. Holy cow!
Uh,
Wow. Was it?
I
Is that how it happened?
it was, but you know what? That's okay. I think your story's better. I
Wait.
like I like
I,
you and Dom making the pasta. That's a better story.
oh,
So
that was another thing. But did I detect a little anger? Was there some anger in that? Huh? You're not angry, right? No.
I could, Steve. Could I ever be angry? Rick is Rick
Rick.
is saying Rick is texting me right now. He's saying everything he does has to have his name on it. Branding genius.
Wait, who said you didn't tell me he was allowed in?
He's not.
You're allowed, huh?
We're keeping Rick. No, he's. By the way, Steve White says hello. He's watching right now.
Oh,
Um, no, I don't know. Rick, he threatened to watch this. I think he's sort of creeping in the shadows. I
uh,
don't know, but this is this is exciting. Let's talk about the book because this is really the main reason. Well, not the main reason. It's one of the reasons we're here. It's a reason why we're here.
okay. Yeah, I mean, when the pandemic started, uh, I had a lot of time, and for a while I didn't do much of anything. But then I was thinking about trying to stay in shape, for when things came back. So just with that in mind, I started just taking these. I got a bunch of these pairs of sticks, the Vic First practice sticks, and with the rubber
Yeah,
tips, and I got them laying all over the house, and I was banging on everything. You know what I mean? And I forgot how much I loved the rudiments and
yeah,
how I used to love to try and come up with parts when I was in drum corps. Different ways to play the standard rudiments, and so I've always been interested in that. And that when I with all of this time with the pandemic, uh, what happened was the more that I got into just doing warm up things, the more that new ideas would start to come in. You know what I mean? And some of them were, they started to get interesting, and I started writing them down because I wanted to share them. When I did a bunch of clinics, one of the questions that used to come up was about warming up.
right.
So, and I warm up before the show, and like in the dressing room. And but what I realized, like, if the show didn't happen, I would have probably kept going back there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
because so you start getting into little things that are different from the way you did them before, or maybe a new way to do something. Um, and So when I started during the pandemic, I had the time. I didn't have to. I know once I started, I got into it, man, and it just time started flying by,
yeah.
and I started writing the stuff down, and before I knew it, I had like a book, and I got into it. I haven't I haven't really read a book since I was in college. Gone through any drum books, and
Yeah.
it was fun to get back into it. try to figure out how to write the stuff out.
It was I mean, just having been there for some of it, peripherally anyway, like, when you would call or we'd talk on the phone and you'd tell me, you wrote a few more pages, and just the enthusiasm that you had was so great, and the fact that, I guess it would have been easy for anybody to write a few pages, kind of get it going, and then move on to something else. You know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing happens all the time. I do that. I start something, I don't always finish it, but I just love the fact that, in the springtime, you mentioned it. I remember in the summer, sitting on the ferry one day coming back from the vineyard, and you texted me a couple of pages. I don't know if you remember that, but and then in typical Steve Gadd fashion, you called me to make sure I got the text. And
Yeah,
asked, yeah, and you said,
I
"Did you get
still
it?
don't
What do
know. I'm still not sure if did you ever get that text? Did you get it,
I
John? Don't
did.
lie to me. Do not lie. I can tell if you're lying.
I know you can."
Yeah, man. I was excited. You know what I mean? The stuff.
Yeah,
It was sort of different. It was interesting, and I was anxious to to get some feedback to see how other drummers felt about it.
yeah. No, I think it just shows how excited you were about it, how enthusiastic you were, and you kept doing it and finished it, and we're gonna see it, I think, pretty soon, right? I think in a couple of weeks. Rob, I guess, will probably tell us exactly when it's going to be out, but I think we're real close. So
Yeah, and we got the notation was looks like old notation, like the rudiments that I read when I was growing up, and I tried to phrase it so there's like either 2 or 4 bars on a line. So I tried to make it as clear and easy to read as I could.
yeah, yep,
And when we were putting it together, I started realizing also how like the amount of uh, the balance of how one page looks next to another. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I just didn't write one page after another. Like I finished a thought, and so I kept that separate. So that not every page had the same amount of staves full. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it just when you see it the way it's laid out, I'd be interested to see how you felt about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great that you're talking about that, because I know there are a lot of elements like that that were really important to you, that you wanted it to have the feel of, like, of those books, those classic books like Stick Control and Syncopation, and the books that we started out with, that are still like kind of the Bibles of today, with
Right. The
I don't know.
NARD book. Did you ever go through the NARD book?
No, no, I didn't.
National. That was like the National Association of Rudimental Drummers.
Yeah,
They had a
yeah,
book and go through all the rudiments. I liked the way they looked. I got used to reading that stuff.
yeah. That's
And
that's that's above my pay grade, Steve. That's above my.
and the other thing is like it's so important how many bars you put on a line. You know, you want it to be so you're helping the guy that's reading it. You don't want to make it more confusing
Yeah,
by not making it as balanced as you can.
yeah, yep. And are there some handwritten notes in there from you too? I know you talked about that, or
Uh,
exercise handwritten stuff.
well, like 6-stroke roll, and the handwritten part would be with no mustard. That would 6-stroke roll, no mustard. That was that was the handwritten. That was the handwritten part. Nothing more than that. Like Flamadiddles displaced, not homeless. Um, yeah, Flam's Casino. Uh, Flams on the half shell. You know,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, those were the little handwritten little things they were in there.
Today's special. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Hold the mayo.
Uh, and are you, not to put you on the spot, but I think you had said a while ago that you had maybe some leftover material to possibly do a second one, or or maybe you're thinking you might, maybe you got.
I started to come up with. It's like if I have the time to really, get into, practice, and if I don't have to start, when you're working, you got to start your time off. Sometimes is spent learning, going over the music that you're going to do 2 weeks from now. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
when I have the time to just spend, practicing, um, just new ideas start to evolve. But I mean, you have to get yourself in the zone, though. You gotta be able to be in that place where you don't have anything pressing to do. You know what I mean? You got a lot of time, and you can just sort of stay with it, no matter
Yeah.
no matter how long it takes. Um, and when you're in it, time goes by fast, but it's still you're in it for a long time. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's when the ideas start to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can come up with variations that aren't just variations for the sake of being a variation, but where they're variations, but where it makes sense musically. You know what I mean? Where you can come up with a sticking. So after you play two bars, that start with the right hand, then you go back and do it with the left hand. So you're constantly working on both sides,
Yeah.
and you're constantly trying to stay balanced. You know what I mean?
And
So
yeah,
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead, Steve. I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead. That and yeah, that so um and I came up with this idea of, no, I didn't come up with it, but I, I'm sure other people have done this before, but about displacing, uh, the rudiments,
Hmm.
and so, and then the way I displace it is like you take a rudiment and you start if you divide the first note into 4/16 notes, you start the rudiment on one, and then you start it on the and to one, um, or the E, one E and E. You start
Yeah.
it on every one of those four beats, and it changes. The sticking doesn't change, but the, you have to. It creates an independence between your hands and your mind, because when you start the same sticking on a different beat, it makes everything feel different.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? So it's a good and you can do that with everything, and I just I got into it because I had never really um, uh, I had never really understood it, as as I did when I started spending some time doing it. And I've been thinking about working on displacing stuff for a long time,
Yeah.
just because but when I started writing this stuff down and really spending time with it, then I just discovered you could do it in a couple of different ways, and they're in the book.
That's great. And so it was a case of like you'd sort of like peel back the onion, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
kept finding other variations of things and
yeah, and
ways
just
of,
with the
yeah,
hands, just with the hands.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And the things feel good, so I think they'll be a inspiration for things you'll take to the kit. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I'm not sure exactly what that'll be because I haven't really done that yet. But Steve Smith, Rob sent some things to Steve Smith, and he's been working on some things and
Yeah.
and took some of the exercises to the kit. So and David Garibaldi, Rob sent some things to David, and he's been checking some things out, and so they're coming up with other ways to take the stuff and use it, on a kit. For me right now, I'm just doing it rudimentally.
Yeah. Yep. I saw some video of Steve. I haven't seen David, but I saw some stuff Steve Smith put, or Rob, I think, put some video of Steve Smith playing, and he attributed it to the book. He said, I've got the Gaddiments book, and it was cool. There's like some short clips of him applying the different, like you say, the different sides, and yeah. So you're right. I mean, I think it's there. I think it's there for people to apply to the kit if they want to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
I do remember that you said Gaddiments at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Now I do, no, really, because we didn't come up with working on it, we were going to call the book until, you know, later. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were still
Yeah.
trying to work on what we wanted how we wanted the book laid out, how we wanted the writing to look. You know what I mean? So, and then the title sort of came towards the end, and I forgot. That was one of the things, and I forgot that it came from you, Johnny. Please, will you ever?
Steve, I forgive.
Will you? Huh?
I forgive.
I'm serious, John. I am very serious about this. Please forgive me.
I had mentioned it to Rob over the summer when he mentioned you last summer when you guys were starting to put it together, and he was Rob's. I said, hey, just an idea. I threw this by Steve when we first talked about it, and kind of clever, whatever. And Rob said, yeah, we're still trying to figure all that out. And then sometime later, he said, yeah, we've settled on the name Gadiments, which I thought was kind of fun and cool. But more than anything, I think it's it's very fitting to the book, to
A good title, man, and that I owe you. Thank
let me see if what Rick is saying now. What do you do if you don't even know how to read the name of? What do you do if you don't even know how to read the name of the author of the book? Now he's just causing trouble.
you. He is.
He is. He's just causing trouble. I'm gonna just Rick, if you're watching this, I'm gonna ignore your texts. All right, you're just finito.
I want to give a big shout out to J. Frank Messina. You know
Is Jay
J.
watching?
Messina?
I sure know who he is, and we just became friends
He
recently.
just told me his middle name and wanted me to be sure and say that. And also, we call him Capitan. Capitan, or Your Excellency, or Your Honor, Your Grace. J. Frank Messina.
Jay,
Great.
nice Italian boy. Yes.
Yeah,
And truly a legend in the recording industry.
yeah, he is. Man. He really
He is. He is. I certainly know of his work, and I'm happy to be connected with him. Hopefully he's watching this right now, and he's hearing this great tribute announcement. My friend Steve Ford has a keen eye. He spotted something. So we'll keep talking about the book, but I was going to ask you. You had mentioned recently that there are some James Taylor dates, kind of.
people are. Yeah, James is. I mean, it's not. It hasn't been announced because nothing is written in stone yet. But everybody's trying to get back out there. Towards the end of July and beginning of August, hopefully. Um, I think that the dates in the states will happen. I don't know
Mhm.
about he. There were some other things. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be talking about this, but I don't.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't know what's gonna. Uh, what things are going to work and what things aren't. They're still trying to figure that out now.
Yeah.
But it looks
Yeah.
like the states definitely. are gonna start happening. Um,
Great. I
I
hope so.
see I see other people starting to book things too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely. It seems kind of selective. I know that there were some dates booked for Fenway Park in Boston this summer, and some are go like it's weird. Like some are still happening, but some have been postponed till next year. But it
Again,
looks like yeah. So I don't know if it's the artists deciding they're going to wait, or if it's the promoter saying for whatever reason they can't make like they can make some shows happen, but they can make others not happen till next year. I don't know, but like we'll
and
see.
I know they wanna go out for it. It doesn't make sense financially unless you can go out to a full house,
Yeah.
you know. So it's I don't really, that's those guys are working on that stuff, and have been. They're talking to doctors, trying to figure out a safe way to do it. It's a big thing, man.
It's a big thing. I agree, and I thought the same thing, Steve. That it's financially it for a lot of these bigger acts, it doesn't really make sense. I don't think financially to go out to a half full venue.
Not if you're
So
taking a full crew and a band and
yeah,
everything. It doesn't.
yeah, yep. So it may make sense to just wait till next year for some of these acts to and assuming 2022 will be back to 100% normal, and it seems like we will be because things are looking really good. So
But I think I
knock wood.
think I think I mean I'm hopeful that I feel pretty confident that the stuff in the states, the James thing is going to happen whenever they announce the dates.
Oh, great. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to going out and doing it. I hope it works. You know.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably the longest you've been off the road that I can think of.
Yeah, I have this is the longest time I've had off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, you've made good use of the time, Steve, and
I
that's
tried to. Yeah, I did, and
yeah.
I mixed that album with my son that the one I sent you for the Blue Note
Yes.
Tokyo.
Yeah. In fact, let me get that. Hang on a second. Let me show everybody. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. I should have had this ready as a prop.
Yeah, we did. That was we played the Blue Note in 2018, and they recorded it, and we listened to the during the pandemic. We got a hold of the tapes and listened to them, and remixed them. I remixed them with my son, and Rich Breen, mastered it, and it was fun. It was
Yeah.
nice. It was great to work with my son Carlo. Um, I'm happy with the mixes, and yeah, so that was something that was nice to, anything that you can do musically when everything else is shut down, for me was great. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was great to hang with one of my kids, and so. Oh, the other thing that was not. I mean, I've got. We used to have 6 dogs, and after when we had 5 when the pandemic started, and that picture there, that one over there is Jackpot.
Yeah.
He was my little bulldog, and as soon as I got off the road with the pandemic, he and I would hang all the time. But he had some kind of thing that wasn't real noticeable, that some kind of little defect from birth
Yeah.
that that started to show itself when he got to be 10 years old, was right after the pandemic started.
Hmm.
So it, and like about 4 or 5 months after the pandemic, it got so bad we had to put him down. But he hung with me for a lot of me writing this thing,
I remember.
and
Yeah.
so the thing that's been great about the pandemic for me is to be able to spend a real lot of time with these dogs. I mean, I get so much pleasure and love from these guys, and they make me laugh. And he was my little buddy, man. He just hung, when I
I
was
know.
playing. Well, because I remember Charlie. And
Yeah.
do you have a dog now?
We don't have a dog now. No, we've thought about it. Now we get a little bit more space here, but yeah, I well, I just want to tell everybody, and I know I told you this at the time, but again, I'm just so sorry about Jackpot because I know you guys were like so tight
Yeah, we were
and
tight.
buddies, and I remember us traveling on the Mission from Gadd tours in Europe. We were like 11 years ago now, 2010. There's Mary Beth watching, in fact. Hi, Mary Beth. And I remember us on several occasions, we'd be sitting at the airport, getting ready to get on a plane or on a bus or something, and you'd be scrolling through pictures on your phone of your dogs, and like the things you do when you're just got some time and you want to pass a little time, and you'd be showing me pictures of the dogs, and because I think you had at the time, and maybe you still do, you had Charlie was a rat terrier, but he looked like a Jack Russell. People often thought he was, and I think you had a Jack Russell at the time, maybe, or
Well, we've had a Jack Russell. I don't know if well, years ago we talked and I had a Jack Russell, but I don't
yeah,
know if I was showing you. That was, I think, during that time she had already passed, but
maybe, yeah,
I might have
okay,
had pictures of her. Yeah,
yeah,
I had a lot
but
of great dogs, man.
yeah,
Fantastic.
well, I can, I can totally see it too when I see the pictures of you guys when Carol puts pictures, on Facebook or something, or Instagram or something, and I see you guys with the dogs, and then many times we'd be talking on the phone, and I'd hear them in the background, or one or two of them or something, and you'd be out running something. You're just like, oh, I'm just out and running some errands or something. I got the dogs with me, and I just thought, that's just so great. Take them out for a ride. They love that.
Oh, they do. They love it.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah,
I have a lot of fun with them, man. I really do.
that's great. Well,
So,
Dave Maddox, I just real quick, Steve. I don't want to forget to ask you this question. Dave Maddox just reminded me, and I had this written down too. And he's a big Jack Russell guy, by the way. But yesterday I mentioned to you his question about the size of the hole in the front bass drum head. And Dave, I'm going to try to hopefully ask Steve the right question here. And the question is the difference between um, different sized holes in the front head. Let me see if I can find his original question that he asked me. Uh, I'm glad he's watching. Yeah, the difference between a hole in the middle. Sorry, difference in the hole in the middle versus off center. Does it affect the sound, and what your thoughts are on that?
I think that you and I were talking yesterday about how what you did with your bass drum,
Yeah, yeah,
putting the head on the outside with no hole
right,
and some muffling, a little bit of muffling, that
right.
something that touches both heads.
Yep.
John, what are you doing?
I'm showing you the front of my bass drum with no hole in it.
Get back here, Mister.
That's a new drum set too.
That's nice. What is that? Let me see that.
It's a mid 70s, early mid 70s Gretsch. I got a few Gretsch drum sets. I don't know if you knew that, but
Well, I
it's
like it. That's got the little spurs that come out of the
yeah,
drum.
that's the real
Well,
shape to it.
what year is that?
Well, the guy that I bought it from said he thought it was 73, but I looked up the serial numbers in this book that Gretsch put out, or sorry, that this Rob Cook or someone else did a book on this on dating your Gretsch drums, and according to what I came up with, 1975. So they're kind of newer than I thought. They're kind of new drums.
What what you thought they were?
I thought they were older. I thought they were 73,
Uh,
but I think they're 75. I don't know,
okay.
somewhere
So
in there.
anyway, getting back
Yeah,
to that question. So you were saying like you got a nice sound with no hole.
Right.
you had a mic inside, and you had like some padding just touching both heads a little
Right.
bit, and you also put a strip on the outside head, the muffling, or where was it?
No, I don't use any other muffling other than a little EQ pad inside, just touching the batter head and the front head.
So the outside head doesn't have anything; it's just a head, right?
Yeah, just a head, just a little bit of the EQ pad touching it. Yep.
So when you put a big hole in the bass drum, that sort of eliminates any kind of tone.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Because,
Yep.
but if you put a small hole, an offset off center, you've got a shot at still getting some tone out of that outside head. Like not as much as you would get without the hole, but more.
Right.
You'd have more of a shot at being able to get some kind of tone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and still be able to get the mic inside the head without having to have it installed,
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and that if you're not traveling with your own kit, like if you had yours mic'd the way you wanted it with two heads, then you would have to take that and they just
Yeah.
plug them. But if you're going to different venues or in their high and they're getting different kits, if you're trying to get that kind of sound, you have them put like one of those heads on with the offset hole, and then you can still get a mic inside, and you still got a shot at getting some tone.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that would be why they would offset it. It would give
I
the
got you.
outside head a little bit more resonance.
Makes perfect sense. Yep. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. And that I years ago did what you said, cut in the old days of well, I shouldn't say the old days, but I remember, kind of really just going for a really dead bass drum sound and just getting everything from the mic, and just and in the PA, and you like you said, you cut a big hole in the front, put some padding inside, and all you really got was that,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
all you get, and
yeah,
and even if you put that in I mean, if you put that in the monitor, say you're in a club. I'm not talking about big venues now.
yeah, yep,
You're in a club and all you got is a monitor, and you want some bass drum in it. If they don't have a sub, it's hard to get any kind of. It's hard to
yeah,
make the monitor feel like you're moving any air.
right,
It's like you're amplifying a piece of wood. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like
yeah, exactly,
and so on the for me on the road, because I don't have a drum with a bass drum with heads on both sides and a mic in the middle that's permanent. The way I get a sound is you try to get them to put a sub up there, and I just put a little bit of bass drum in the sub, uh, and to add some bottom, and just try to get like the right balance of the sub and the wedge for the kick, so you get a little attack and then some, and that sort of helps. That gives me the feel like I've got both, like the bass drum's got both heads on it. It gives
yeah,
it a
yep,
bottom. So,
exactly.
but that's the way you got to do it if you're not traveling with your own stuff. But what you're doing is a great idea. I love that. I bet you the
Yeah,
drum sounds fantastic.
it really does. It really it's, and I mentioned, I use that Kelly shoe mounting system, so the Shure Beta 52 mic is mounted to that. It's in there nice and secure. It's suspended about not quite midway down. It hangs on these suspension. I'll send you a picture of what it looks like inside there, but it's the mic is actually probably just below dead center. Um, so
Dead,
it's
just below dead center. So it's
just
dead center between both heads, and
yeah,
yeah, that's cool.
yeah, and it really, I mean, it's and I'm gonna send you a video clip. Excuse me, of my band. Just ignore the rest of it, but I think you'll dig the bass drum sound because it has that what we're talking about, that
No, I
fullness.
understand, man.
Yeah,
That's because I know it's a problem when you play live in small places.
yeah,
if you put the kick in the monitor, it doesn't you don't get any bottom unless you got two heads on it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you did what I would have done, man, if I was doing gigs like that. That's the only other way, except to have a sub there, a little sub
Yeah.
that you know.
And I use the in-ear so I can actually get a good sound. I can get a good bottom sound through my ears, with that combination. So
But
it makes
even
that work.
acoustically, it feels better,
It really
right?
does. Yeah. It
Even
feels like you're playing a
acoustically,
drum.
it feels like you can mix yourself into the music
Yeah.
with something that sounds like the way it sounds when you're playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Not like not like a piece of wood that's coming out of here. When you can hear your drum with two heads, the drum sounds like it's got more bottom, and the drum does what you want it to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
But you've
Yep.
got to do it. You've got to, the best way to do it is to mic it from the inside. I think to try and
I,
do it from.
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I mean, it's worked out. I hesitated to try it that way for a long time, and then when I finally did, I couldn't. There was no turning back. I ended up putting him in a bunch of different drum kits so that I can just, if I'm going to take my Rogers kit, or I get a bunch of Gretsch kits or a Ludwig kit to a gig, it's ready to go. I just plug it in, and yeah,
That's the best way to do it, man.
yeah,
That's
it's ready
the
to
best way
go.
to do it.
Um, yeah, so I'm just going to read a couple of comments here that John Ferraro says hi, our buddy John Ferraro. Um, yeah, okay. Let me see. Rob is standing by. I can bring Rob in just a minute. Let's see. Sorry, I just don't. I do this. I say this all the time. I miss good questions if I don't take a second and just quickly scroll through. Um, let's see. How you hanging in there, Steve? You good?
No, I'm good, man.
Good. I can tell you're having maybe the most fun you've had in a long time right now. This is this is
This is the most fun I've had since I got up today.
All right. Well, let's see. Well, folks, if I'm missing a question someone asked, I'll try to come back and look for it later. Um, oh, Larry Aberman's asking, playing anywhere yet? Larry, we were just talking about possibly um, Steve going out and doing some James Taylor dates this summer in the States, possibly. But you did do some gigs with your band, the Baked Potato, and
Without an audience, that was
without an audience. Yeah.
just to stream it to help keep the club afloat. You know what I mean? They were
Yeah.
scuffling a little bit. I'm going to the last gig I did before the pandemic was this benefit we do in New York, Love Rocks,
Oh yeah, sure.
and so we're going to do that again at the beginning of June in
Oh,
New York.
yeah,
I'm not sure there'll be an audience.
right.
There might be a limited, a select audience, but we're doing that,
Is
and
that Carnegie Hall? Is that where you do that,
no,
or
no, that's the
no?
Beacon.
The Beacon,
Beacon,
the Beacon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen, and I've got a couple of little recording things after that in New York. But I mean, it's not, it's sporadically things are
Yeah.
starting to come back, and I guess we'll see how everything goes after it starts. You know what I
Right.
mean? What the
Yeah.
numbers.
There's a question from a young man watching by the name of Jay Messina, and I'm
Jay,
guessing Jay Frank Messina, and he's asking how you tune your drums. And I know what you're going to say with a drum key, but I think he means actually how do you tune them?
um, I think that he's messing with me.
I think he is too because he's probably tuned your drums for you. But you could say with a drum key, and
Yeah, with a
there's your
drum
answer.
kit. Um, yeah, he's asking. I don't think he really wants to know that. Does he?
He said, "What technique?"
Oh, technique. All right. So what I do is like I use two heads on the toms, and uh, I get the you get them both where the drum starts to resonate a little bit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then you tune the top head to where you get it to feel good to touch when you hit it, and then the bottom head is sort of is the tone you can raise and lower the tone of the drum.
Right.
So and it's just trial and error. You know what I mean? But the more that you do it, the more you learn how like the bottom head can you can get the top head to where it feels good, and then if the pitch is a little bit off and you want to raise it, you can use the bottom head to tighten it up and raise the pitch. And
Yeah.
it's
Yep. Yep.
and then you go to the next time and do the same thing to try to tune the drum to itself, get it to where it's responding good, and then you have to tune it so it's the next step from this other time. You got to get it the other pitch, So it's like
Yeah.
there's no set way. You know what I mean? You just start out and go for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And what you say is so key as far as the no pun intended on the key, but the bottom head plays such an important part. I used to make these, sarcastic joke videos about, you know, what do you even need the bottom head for? It's just, it's just for looks or whatever. But I mean, that to me, the whole sound of the tom toms comes from the bottom. I mean, not the whole sound, but it's
A
so
lot of
important. Yeah, a lot of it. And I with these drums, I just got these the other day, and most of I have a bunch of Gretsch sets that are all the same configuration: 9 by 13, 16 by 16, 14 by 22-inch bass drum, and they're all pretty consistent the way they tune up. This set was a little tricky. It had some ambassador heads on it that I think were just old, so I took those off. I thought they were going to be okay. They didn't look too beaten up, but they weren't tuning up right for me. So I put these Remo classic heads on that are the ones that they make for old drums. They're like a little oversized.
I don't know about those heads.
Yeah, Remo came out with these heads because old Gretsch drums, for example, the shells were slightly oversized. So if you put in like a 13-inch coated ambassador head made today on an old Gretsch drum, sometimes it's a little tight on there. So you get these classic fit, and they're tiny bit bigger, and they sit a little better on the drum. Um, so I put one of those on the 13, and it tuned up great. The
What's on the
16,
bottom?
clear ambassador, and it's a regular clear ambassador, and it's fine. And then on the 16, I've got it sounding pretty good, but I think I'm gonna just try. I've got a regular coated ambassador in my little back stock room here. I'm gonna put on. I've got a classic on there now that's I'm not excited about, and I think it's just gonna just need a regular good old coated ambassador 16 to just make it nice and big.
So are the classics, are they like an ambassador thickness and coated like an ambassador?
Yes, yep. They
Look like
they
an ambassador except they're classic, a
right,
little bit bigger.
and I think they make them for diplomat and. Let me demonstrate, Steve. I think they make them also in a diplomat and emperor. So that's the.
Yeah, and you don't have any inside tone controls in those
I
drums?
do it. I have the two Gretsch that came on it, but I don't use them. They're all
Right.
completely undone. But that's got the moon gel on it.
They don't the the Gretsch mufflers don't rattle around in there when you're playing.
They really don't. No, they really don't. I know they can, but these are pretty good. I like the fact that it keeps the drum original with them in there.
And no, I know. I like that too.
Um,
But
you know,
it's
the
beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. It's in great shape. And the great thing about white marine pearl, as you know, is that the minute you play a white marine pearl drum set, you sound like Buddy Rich. I mean, it's just you instantly. become Buddy Rich. Doesn't matter what kind of drum it is, as long as it's that color. You take on. Like I started swearing at Kelly,
Uh-huh.
but I played just like Buddy.
Well, I know. Well, you do, John. I know that you do play like Buddy. I like that, though. I like it,
Yeah.
and I like the fact that you're muffling it from the outside.
Yes. Yes.
That's the best, you know.
Yeah. Are you hearing me, Steve? Mike? Yeah. You're right,
This
Steve-O.
was nice, man. I like it.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, what do you say we get Robbo on here? Oh, Yard. Yard is on watching. He said,
Yard.
when did tuning drums begin? Never heard of that. Yard says some of the funniest shit on Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
He when I put a picture of this event, to advertise that we were doing this today, and Yard wrote, "Are you sure it's really him?" I said he fits the description.
We're not sure.
We're not sure. This
I'm
could
not
be.
even sure. I'm not
This
even
could be.
sure.
This could be an imposter, a Gadd imposter. All right. Okay. Well, someone did ask about the videos that go with the book, so maybe we'll have Rob talk about that too a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to bring on everybody. Please give a warm welcome to the one and only Mr. Handsome, Rob Wallace. There he is.
Hey, man.
Mr. Handsome.
Gadd imposter.
Bravo.
Okay. Well, someone did.
Oh,
I
I
can't-
can hear.
Can you
I
hear
can
us?
hear myself.
Hey,
There he is.
hey, Steve. Hey, John.
How you doing?
Good. Oh, I like. I'm at my brother-in-law's house. I like the hat, John.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Well, I thank you for sending it. It's a.
It's a very dapper-looking hat.
Nice.
And I'm not a hat guy, and it.
No?
I don't look that goofy in it because it says Gaddiments on it.
And I will confirm the story as I have been listening, and I was jumping out of the seat. You got Steve. You gotta sometimes give credit where credit is due.
It was a memory thing, and
You know what I'm saying?
I do. I know exactly. I've asked for an apology. I mean, I've asked for forgiveness.
I know you've offered.
I've
You.
asked for forgiveness.
It was good. It was good, and I mean that, babe. But yeah, it was a good. It was good. But Johnny, thank you, because the name, it's everywhere. It is. It is everywhere.
That's great. It's painful, I know, to admit that I thought of
No.
it, and I apologize for thinking of it. I wish it was somebody else. That
I'm
came up.
sorry. I forgot. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, Steve, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, how
love
you
is-
guys doing?
Love is never saying you're sorry. Great, Rob. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, John.
Eddie Taduri says I look goofy in the hat. So, Rob, this is exciting. I'm so glad you could join us to talk about like the release. And can you tell everybody the actual release date?
Yeah, we're going to start shipping the pre-orders on the week of January 7th.
June 7th.
I'm sorry, June 7th. Yeah, we're not going to make anyone wait till January. June 7th, and yeah, we're waiting for the books to come in. I got an advanced copy off the press.
Great.
And yeah, I mean, just to give an example of what Steve was talking about, I don't know if you can see this that we actually had to find somebody that does charts with pen and ink. It's a lost art and talent, really. And Steve wanted something that looked not cold and kind of computer generated, and finding somebody that actually does that, because it's not economical. Like Broadway used to be all hand charts. Jingles were hand charts, as I'm sure Steve will tell you, back in the day. But now it's all finale files and Sibelius and all that, and it's a whole different vibe. So Steve, of course, had a wonderful idea to do the book old style, and we found somebody that had kind of retired his pen and ink, and he said, I'm going to bust them out. Let's see if I can still do it by hand, and we went through a couple of tests, and yeah,
That's great.
the problem with it is when you make changes, you have to write the whole page again. You can't just go in, hit delete, on your mouse and take away the note or an accent. So, we drove this poor fellow Roy a little crazy, I think, but we ended up with a really great looking product. And it was really at Steve's, insistence that we explore that route to see what it would look like. And it really is, it's a really unique looking thing. And there's a couple of pages where there's a fold out because Steve wanted to be able to see all 3 pages at a time instead of 2. So there's a fold out in the book, and you get to put it on a music stand and see 3 pages.
That's great. That's a great idea.
Steve,
Like each rudiment is like a different idea, and I wanted to keep the ideas separate from each other. So rather than start a new idea on a page where there was already something happening, I just wanted to organize it in a clearer way. You know, I think I just think it's important to make it as user friendly and as informative as possible.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think we did Rob and the guys they did fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really, knocked out with the way it came out. And Steve was involved in literally the look of the pages, how many, staves down the music started if it wasn't a full page. We left a lot of space so that it didn't look intimidating. So, it's really Steve's, stamp on every aspect of the project, really. And I saw there was an earlier question. Somebody asked, is there video? And the answer is, yeah, there's, I think it's 84 or 86 exercises in the book. And there's a video of Steve demonstrating each one of them at a tempo that you can kind of comprehend and try to emulate. So it's, it's completely, informative. And the videos are real simple and just Steve counting them off with a click. And when I heard, Steve was talking about the whole concept of displacement, it gets complicated pretty quickly. And we have a click in there so that you can always know where the downbeat is.
Oh, great.
Because otherwise you get completely, you're real quick to kind of lose your spot and get turned around on the time. So the click always accented the 1 of the bar louder. And so there's always a click going.
So there's a DVD inside the book?
No, the video is online. There's a code that you get in the book, and you get that online. And then eventually, when we release it digitally, you just tap the screen and the video box pops up right there.
Wow.
It'll be embedded. Yeah.
Yeah. This is exciting because I knew Steve had specific things that he wanted to do. And it's so great that you guys, Hudson, the only guys I could think of that could bring it to life. You know what I mean? Like all the things that he was looking to do. I remember talking to you about it last summer, Rob, too, about I forgot about the handwritten, I made reference to handwritten, but when you were talking about the ink and everything. Yeah. That's great. That's going to give it so much more personality than, like you say, a sort of computer generated sterile looking vibe.
Yeah, you're right. That's the right word for it. It has a personality already, the book. And I just wanted to stress and thank Steve. I mean, the amount of effort and time he put into this. I mean, he was calling all hours of the day or night. He'd say, look, are you in front of your computer? Look at page 23. Go to the 4th bar. I want to accent the last 2 eighth notes. It just feels better. So can you just make a notation on that? Yes, dude, I got it. Let me go to bed now.
Somehow Yeah.
it was a lot of, a lot of work. And he put, every note, literally every note was analyzed and re-gone over, and changes made. And, it really, and anybody that's seen it so far, and I know, Steve mentioned, Steve Smith, a couple of guys have seen kind of an advanced, a copy of it, they just think it really does reflect Steve musically, and this stuff all grooves, it feels really good to play. So
Yeah.
And it's good for your chops. It really, working on the rudiments strengthens. We do we alternate so you cover both hands, and it does help. The rudiments with flams can make your chops stronger, man. If you when you get them comfortable. So
Oh yeah.
it's I don't know. I'm happy about it. I got into it, man. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun. It was good. We worked hard though.
yeah, it was a big effort, and it was months. I mean, when did we really start, Steve, for really digging into it?
Well, I had most of the stuff written, when I spoke to you,
Yeah.
and
Like
then
last summer.
as we started getting into it, then I started tweaking it. Then sort of how to, which sections should go together. It was like there were a lot of decisions that had to be made, but I didn't really know. I couldn't have known what they were until we started doing it. You know what I mean? Because we had never done it before.
Yeah.
So it was a learning uh, situation for me.
Yeah,
And
me too.
yeah,
No, it's great. I mean, and for me personally, I just want to say, and I've said this to Steve on the phone a few times. Obviously, you know, the work that we did in 1980, 1981, and fast forward and kind of full circle back to where we are today.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I would have never thought that we'd be working this closely, this hard on a project like this. And it's, for me, it's just, I couldn't be happier. It's just so rewarding, and to connect with Steve and be talking 3 or 4 or 5 times a day.
and it's
No,
and it's and
it's
it's
great.
exciting to see how the how the guys are gonna if they're gonna. I hope they like it. You know what I mean? That'll be the next thing. If the information is something that inspires them, I hope it does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Steve being so humble. I mean, he would, if he asked once, he asked 100 times, like, you like this stuff? You think it's good? You think people are going to
Yeah.
be interested? He's so humble, but put every ounce of effort that he could into this thing. So, I learned a lot, and got such inspiration from Steve, seeing, the focus and the effort and determination that he had with it, every single aspect,
Yeah.
of
Detail.
where the
I know.
page number went, and what the font looks like. And there's Steve in it too. That, like he said, he wasn't kidding. There's some real good humor in some of the subtitles of
Yeah.
these exercises.
Well, I
Really
know
fun.
when we when we did the tribute, Rob, in 2003, Zildjian and Hudson, and we did the tribute to Steve at Berkeley. We saw, I mean, it was Steve's day, but he was involved in terms of the music and the band, and he definitely is. We're talking about him like he's not here with us right now, but
Yeah.
no, he's the absolute perfectionist, and
Yeah.
I learned that. I remember Steve. I remember talking about, for example, and we talked about this just today as well, the monitors, and you were saying, I'm telling you, man, we got to have the right monitor guy there, because if the monitors aren't right, the whole thing's not going to be happening. It's just, and I certainly recognize the importance of monitors, but you were right. I mean, that was like the key to making it all. Needless to say, everybody having a good monitor mix, having your James Taylor, John Godenzi, I think his name is,
John,
the yeah, the monitor guy there. Like that was a huge thing to have him there to mix the monitors, you know, and make that. And I was going to say, years later on all the Mission from Gadd tours, and you and I would talk about them ahead of time and just kind of perfect how we wanted to do this, the traveling, how we were going to program certain parts of it, like the autograph sessions before, and you know, how we do the meet and greet stuff, and you know, it's all those little details that make it right, and you can see that with this book. It's
Mhm.
exciting.
You know, the thing with monitors too, it just what I learned is if you got guys, if you got musicians that you love to play with that can play and listen, if they can hear each other, then the music plays us. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah,
that's what's got to happen. We got to be able to hear ourselves and the guys we're playing with, and then everything sort of falls into place.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
I remember the when we were filming the Drummers Collective 25th anniversary show, and Steve was there with the Gadd gang, and same exact thing, doing the sound check. And I was standing next to Steve, and I could see that it just he was not happy. You know, you could see it on his face, you could see his body language, and he just stood up and looked at the monitor guy and said, we've got to start from scratch. It was probably a guy that had more of a rock and roll attitude to the sound
Hmm.
and pushing it out, really loud and hard and edgy. And Steve, literally said to the guy, turn off everything that you just done and let's go note, drum by drum, and went through each thing, and it was night and day. The whole
Yeah,
band sounded so different after a half an hour sound check, of everybody getting what they wanted in the monitor. And Steve's the thing I took away that day was he said to the monitor, I control the sound. You don't control the sound. It's got to come from me. So if the dynamics, if we need something louder, I'll make it louder, not you.
yeah.
And it was such an incredible lesson. I'm saying that for the guys that are listening, because it was such a different experience hearing the music after Steve taking charge and really explaining to the monitor person what he needed to hear in the monitors to be able to play the music. It was really incredible.
You know what, Rob? And it's, I know exactly what you're saying. I'll just say that to follow on to what you said, because that was 2002, I think, was the
Yeah.
25th. Yeah. So a few years later, when we did the first mission from Gadd, 2005, we had a similar situation. I'd sent out the rider, which basically said we want to. Steve is looking for a very acoustic sound. We want to mic the bass drum, mic the snare drum, for the brush work, and maybe an overhead. Don't need to mic every tom tom, and and Steve, I'm sure you remember this. On the earlier dates of the tour, we'd show up and the drum kit would be, well, actually I would be setting the drums up, but the sound guy would be there miking every drum. And at one point, Steve said, "Look, I get what you're trying to do here, but I don't want to. This isn't like a rock concert. I want the drums. I want the sound to come from me. Um, I want the, like you said, I want the dynamics. There's no dynamics when you've got a mic on every drum and it's just concert sound. And we finally sort of found a way to just say that politely, because you don't want to piss the sound guy off the first 5 minutes that you get there, and they were all honored to be there mixing sound for Steve. But it was a new thing for me to experience, because I was used to going and doing these clinic tours with drummers where we would just mic every drum and it would just be, playing to tracks, and kind of a race to see who could be louder, the drums or the tracks, or a competition, I should say. But yeah, it was a real natural sound coming from the drums. You'd hear like this organic tone rather than just a big amplified sound.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, yeah.
it's a
Well,
it's a
so
yeah, constant learning situation. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, yeah,
just keep trying. It,
And Steve mixed it like the new record that you held up a little while ago, John. The Live at the Blue Note.
yeah,
It's such a beautiful sounding record. It's And we talked about the process a little bit in a couple of phone calls, because Steve sent me the record, and I love the way it sounds. And he talked about, really just trying to, the mixing process. It was difficult, and I'm sure, really time consuming, but it ended up with a, great product.
Yeah.
It just sounds so great.
Great. Really great.
Very natural,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you can hear the brushes that naturally,
Yeah.
that's a great mix.
That's a
Um,
hard. That was tricky, but like it was worth it because it's all about it. It's not just about the sound; it's about the feel. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Capture like some kind of the groove, and I think on this record we did.
Yeah, we
Without
did.
turning things up, we sort of just found a way to make some moves where you could hear different things. It wasn't
Yeah.
easy because when you're playing live, the drums are into every mic that's open on stage. So sometimes it sounds better from those mics than it does from the mics that are miking the drums. So you're
Yeah.
making these moves to get sounds from different places for different reasons. All about the feel for me. I just
Yep.
wanted to keep the feel consistent. So yeah, we did
Yeah.
work hard. My son Carlo and I, we worked hard. And Rich Bream mastered it. He was incredible.
Yeah. So everybody definitely should grab this too. In addition to Steve's book, Gaddiments, um, Steve Gadd Band at the Blue Note. I came up with this title also
Yeah,
at the Blue.
John told us you should call it the Steve Gadd Band Live at the Blue Note Tokyo. We were actually recorded it in New York at the Iridium, but John said no, it's got to be the Blue Note Tokyo. It's got
Yeah.
to be.
And
And John, I thank you so much for that.
Steve, you're welcome. And the at the Blue Note in blue, I think is a really nice touch. It's a really so Robbo, um, I call Rob Robbo. Um, People can order it from the Hudson Music site,
Yep.
and yep,
We're taking pre-orders. There's a couple of different packages because people were saying, can I get a book signed? And the cover came out, so amazing. I thought it would make for a really nice poster. So we're selling, a package where there's a nice size signed poster, and it's in this foil. Like it actually printed the poster twice to get this effect.
wow.
Actually, I got one right here. I don't know if it reads,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's this like very shiny foil, and it's just, to me, it's just a badass cover. Steve's arms, the sticks, the tats, really simple. And so yeah, there's some things that's on the Hudson Music website. Order it. They'll start shipping out the end of the first week of June 7th that week. And yeah, it's
that's
going
great.
The guys at Hudson, they really, they, I mean, they were in 100%. Once we, everybody was putting all their energy into trying to understand what the ideas were and what the goal was, and I'm real happy with the way it turned out, and real grateful to all the guys at Hudson, and it was, I enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah, I did too, Steve. Thank
Great.
you.
We should give a shout out to Joe Bergamini too.
Yeah,
They're
Joe.
really great.
I know
Yeah.
Joe was.
The whole team. Mike Hoff
Yeah.
did the cover design. Bill Zules did the cover photo. Rick Gratton did the layout. The whole team really stepped up. Yeah. I was talking to Mike about the way it just sort of organically happened. Everybody, sometimes you get a project and you just catch a really good tailwind and things fall into place. And sometimes, they're difficult and time consuming, but you still get through it. And you never feel like you're trying to push a train up a hill.
Yeah.
It's like you're just kind of rolling with it. And that's really how this whole thing felt. It was, really wonderful experience. And to work with Steve after like a 40-year interim.
Yeah. Amazing.
What can
Amazing.
you say? Can't make it up.
Yeah, I know. It's so
Yeah,
cool. That to me is one of the best parts of the story. Is it's like he was the sort of launching pad for you, Rob. Hudson
Yeah.
Music or DCI
Yeah.
video way back when, and then here you are 40 years later and working together again. It's awesome.
It's like the Odd Couple.
We are the odd couple. But
Well, guys, this has been awesome. I know we're getting to be about 90 minutes in, so I promised Steve we'd keep this reasonable.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts or anything else you guys want to cover or say before we
Just
close it out?
thank you, John, for
Thank you.
doing this and helping us get the word out, and thank you for
Pleasure.
Steve for bringing this project, to me, giving me the chance to work on it with you. It's just an experience and something I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
Well, thank you, man. John, thank you for all that you do. I know I bust your chops and stuff, but I appreciate you, man. And I
I
love
know.
you. I love you guys.
Love you
And
too, Steve.
You too, Steve.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. You know that. And Rob, I want to just comment on that shirt. That's a really happening shirt you're wearing. Is that Bill Murray or is that?
It's something I picked up when my wife was in Paris, just at like a flea market, but I did go out and get a shave, and I was going to get my nails done, but I figured you really couldn't see them. So I
Can't see the
I
nails.
skipped it, but a little summery kind of thing,
That's top notch. I'd expect nothing less.
Uh,
All right. Well,
Okay.
everybody,
Thank you.
Rob and Steve and Robbo, if you could hang on for 1 second, I'll end the live stream and we'll just say goodbye in the chat room for.
Okay.
All right. But thank you guys for watching, everybody. Big hand for Steve Gadd, the one and only. And Steve, I'm so glad. Before we hang up, I'm just so glad you didn't bring up Asia like you always do, and it's like this whole thing where you want to talk about that.
Well, you
and
asked me not to. You said, please, Steve, don't bring that shit up anymore.
don't bring. We're gonna do one of these in the future. We're gonna talk only about that. All right. So thanks for watching. Big hand for Rob Wallace, Hudson Music. Thanks, Robbo. And thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week, next Friday, the 28th, with Jeremy Stacy, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching. Check this out on YouTube later. See you soon. Gaddiments out.